to the Art Buying Simplified Summit. I am your host, Jenelle Walters. And the reason why we are hosting this summit for you is because we understand that the art buying process can be very overwhelming. Even though decorating your house and making it more personalized to you should be fun and exciting, but because there's so many different technicalities and a lot of elements to consider, it could become frustrating. So we are here today to share with you our expertise and our knowledge so that way you could be confident and you could be less stressed when it comes to your art buying decisions. And we also want to provide information that way you can prevent making expensive mistakes as well. So for today's guest, I'm so excited. We have a fellow artist. Her name is Katie Miranda. And Katie Miranda, she is a transformational visionary artist. And through her art practice, she helps you get out of your own way. That way you are able to manifest what is it that you truly want out of your life. Welcome. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Jenelle. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now you can go ahead. I know I did a little small introduction, but I want you to go ahead and fully introduce yourself and about your art practice and your company and everything that you do. So take the floor.
Sure. So I am a transformational visionary artist. I'm an oil painter and a jewelry designer and an illustrator. I studied at the Academy of Art University. I got 2 art degrees there. And so now I'm splitting my business kind of in 3 ways. One aspect is jewelry design. I specialize in Arabic calligraphy jewelry. And I'm also a fine art painter. And I also have combined art with coaching, and that's where the transformational visionary art comes through. I help people get out of their own way so that they can manifest what they want in life. And we will talk a little bit more about that later in the interview.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to have an artist speak because I know that there are certain things about buying art that we have a different perspective because it's a little bit more personal to us.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to just give like for let's say for our first time art collectors they're ready to take the leap to buy some original art. Do you have any advice as far as how to go about buying art, like where to go and any advice
Yeah,
on
sure. I have lots of advice and lots of opinions.
Yes, let's get started.
So I'm a big believer in the buyer connecting directly with the artist as opposed to going through a gallery. I think galleries are extremely intimidating places for people who don't or feel that they don't know anything about art. And what it comes down to, the art that you want to have on your wall may not be the art that the gallery thinks that you should have in on your wall. And the gallery is coming from a place of they have opinions about what is good and what isn't and what's in fashion and what high society is buying and what's a good investment. But really, 100% it comes down to what do you want? What do you like? And I can't tell you what you like. I can tell you what I think makes great art. And I can tell you what makes a great painting. But I can't tell you what speaks to you. The same with music, like I have opinions about the music I like. My husband has opinions about the music he likes. I can't stand some of his music choices. Okay. And I'm sure Janelle, you have like opinions about the kind of music that you like.
Mhm.
And you would not appreciate if somebody with like a PhD in music was trying to get you to buy this, that, or the other thing. Or somebody who, like a salesperson at a record company was trying to get you to buy this, that, or the other thing. You buy the music that you like, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's the same with art. And I think the intimidation comes in when people, if people don't have an art background, they see a painting that sells for like $5 million that's just like two colors on a canvas, and they're just like, I don't get this. You know what? I don't get it either, personally.
Me neither.
I've got 2 art degrees. I can't explain why that that kind of thing happens, you know? So my advice is to reach out to the artist directly, and you can do this in lots of ways. Instagram is a great place to find art. And if you start following artists on there, Instagram will start recommending other artists who are similar. And you can buy prints, you can buy fine art, you can buy originals. And that way, you know that 100% of your money is going directly into the pocket of the artist. With the gallery, 50% of the money that you pay gets put into the pocket of the gallery. And quite frankly, the gallery owners did not go through the blood, sweat, and tears that we, the artists, did to get to the level that we can paint or draw or sculpt at. And that's my opinion about where to go to buy art.
Wow, where do I begin? I want to talk because you mentioned such a good point that that can be a reason why people are afraid, is that intimidation factor. They might feel like, oh, I have to know what is good art in order to buy it. And it's like, again, it's all about what do you want in your home? Because like you said, the motives of the gallery person, the gallery attendant, or whoever's done the curator, it's their motives might be a little bit different, because at the end of the day, it's going in, you're the one that has to live with the art, you know what I mean? So I think that's really important that you put your wants ahead of what they might suggest. Of course, listen a little bit, but at the end of the day, is what you want in your home. And you even mentioned about the percentage that they take, like the 50%. I think, you know, many art collectors may not even know that, because how could they know? You know, that information is not being openly shared about how much the artist is actually getting as far as the commission is only 50%. And I feel as though as an art collector, had they have known that, they probably might not have bought through the gallery in the first place, because, you know, if you like a certain musician, like an artist, their music, you want them to make more music. So you want to make sure that the money that you're giving to that artist is helping them to make more music. But then you find out that they're not even being supported by you in the way that you want them. It kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. You know, music. I don't know how the music industry works.
Yeah, just to make it like an analogy, if you really
Yeah.
like a certain artist and you want them to grow, you want them to make more art, and it's like they're not even getting they're not even getting it. So I'm glad that, you know, yeah. And then you also mentioned about like online. So say, you know, a lot of us were online shopping. So do you have any ideas of where someone might be able to find art online?
Yeah, I really recommend Instagram, you
Instagram.
know, just following the accounts you like. And also Pinterest is great too. The downside of Pinterest is sometimes the links on there are expired, whereas Instagram, if you follow the artist, you know, you get a fresh feed of what they're currently doing, and you can DM them. And yeah.
Yeah, I also want to bring up another point about, again, the intimidation factor. Don't feel like you're bothering the artist by asking them questions. We want you to ask us, like, we want you guys to ask us questions. So,
Yeah,
you know, yeah. So if you have a question about anything, like down to the type of paper or canvas that the artist is using, don't be afraid to ask. Like we want you guys to ask us. It's important. You should know, because you should know what it is that you're getting as far as the value for your money. So yeah.
Yeah, and a good artist will reply to you right away and support you and ask questions so that he or she can help support you in a buying decision.
Yeah.
One thing I also wanted to add is
Of
that
course, yes.
One of the reasons that buying art can be so intimidating for people is because of the academic language that is used to talk about art. And this is what you might experience if you go to a gallery. This kind of language is not useful, and quite frankly, for probably about 90% of people who just want something nice on their wall, it's irrelevant. It's industry jargon, and I think it does a disservice to buyers and collectors because it puts them off and makes them feel like, oh, this is beyond my level of understanding. I'm nervous, I'm scared, I'm just going to walk out of this gallery and go do something where I feel more comfortable. And so if somebody's talking to you in this like art industry jargon, just exit. Because it's not relevant. You don't have to understand it. I don't understand most of it myself. And ultimately, what it comes down to is, what do you like? And there's no right or wrong, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. I know we spoke a little bit earlier, and you mentioned another place that people can go aside from galleries. You mentioned open studios. So I wanted you to kind of explain to people who may not know what an open studio is. What does that look like? Can you go ahead and explain for those who are new, what is an open studio?
So yeah, an open studio, sometimes it's organized by the artists themselves, or sometimes it's organized by a city where artists can sign up to be part of that. And it just means you get to go to the artist studio and look at what they have for sale and meet them and talk to them. And they usually, like, if it's organized by the city, you will usually get like an outline of all the different studios, where their locations are, and you can just plan for a day of, driving around from one studio to the other, looking at art and meeting artists. And they're typically in the summer.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
also sometimes artists like myself, I organize my own open studios where I just invite everybody I know to come and see what I've been doing.
Yeah, just to get to know you better. And I also wanted to add that just like a deeper connection when you kind of talk to the artist. So that way, when you do get their piece and you are like, walking around your house, you feel like, like, it feels different when you're buying a piece from someone that you know versus kind of just going out there randomly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, do you, are there any other kind of, well, have you experienced any like mistakes people tend to make? Maybe they kind of do impulse buying, or maybe they didn't ask the right questions, or anything that comes to mind as far as like mistakes that people can avoid when buying art, or where to go to buy art? Anything that comes to your mind?
I can't address that directly because
Yeah, it depends.
the art that is on my walls is my art.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like any of it is a mistake.
Yeah.
So, but um I think that if you want to set yourself up to win in terms of the art fitting in the space, make sure you measure the available space on your wall so you don't buy something that's too big or too small. That's number one. Because you don't want to end up with something where you don't have room for it, and you also don't want to end up with something, if you have a huge space on your wall, then it's like really tiny. Another thing, and this is my personal preference, I like to make sure that the art, like the colors in the art, match the colors in the room. So my studio here, and it's the walls are red. You can kind
Yeah,
of
because
see.
we could, yeah, because
Yeah, so the art over here on my walls over here, it's all got red tones in it. And downstairs, my walls are lilac. So a lot of my art has like blues and purples in it. And this is not like a hard and fast rule, and it's not
yeah.
something to think about too much. But if you ask the artist for help in this area, if you tell him or her, I want to pick something that is going to match this space, they should be able to help you. But ultimately, I think the goal is to find something that you love.
Mhm. Yeah, so if you had like one last, just like, takeaway for people to understand, would it be that define what you like?
I don't even know if that's so important. I think it's something that just comes up instantaneously
Mhm.
if you see something, if you
Yeah,
see
like
a
a
picture.
subconscious, yeah.
You know what you like,
Right, yeah.
and you know what you don't like.
Hmm.
I I know what kind of music I don't like, even though I haven't studied music theory.
Hmm.
You know, it, it's
Yeah,
it's an instinctual level, and I think you should pay attention to what you like on an instinctual level rather than making it, academic.
yeah, exactly. And don't get too caught up on other people's like opinions or what your friends might think. It's, at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it is for
It's
you.
your house.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. It's
You gotta
your,
live with it.
you have to live with it. It's something that it's meant for you to enjoy. So, I want to stress that it's supposed to be an enjoyment process. And yeah. So I kind of wanted to go ahead and segue and talk about your offer for the audience, your future memory painting. So you can go ahead and explain that for us.
Sure. So one of the things that I am working on right now, and I love, and my clients love, is it's called a future memory painting. And the reason I got started doing this is because I got divorced in 2013. I was in my late 30s. I knew I wanted to get remarried. And about a year before I met my now husband, I drew a picture of somebody who has this uncanny resemblance to him. And so I met him a year later. Um, our first date, he was wearing a navy blue collared shirt, just like the navy blue collared shirt I drew him with. And we got married in 2018. And by the time we got married, I was 43 years old. Neither my husband nor me had kids, and we both wanted kids, but the doctors were telling me that I was too old to have my own baby. Um, so I ended up having a bunch of setbacks in the form of miscarriages. And my husband told me, you drew a picture of me and manifested me. Why don't you draw a picture of our future kid and see if you can manifest our future kid? And so I did. And 9 months after I drew the picture on the left, I got pregnant. And I had my very first baby at age 45. Um, does the picture of the baby
That
show up?
is so beautiful. Yeah, we could see it. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I realized I was kind of on to something here, and I decided I'm going to use these drawing and painting skills that I have to help other people manifest the dreams and goals that they have in life. So this is what I am doing for clients now. I help them get really clear on what their vision is, how they are going to get there, and then together we co-create a painting of what that vision is. And it helps anchor them into the future and it helps them to believe that what they want to manifest is actually possible, just like it did for me. And so my free gift to the callers is a 30-minute free session with me to see what your vision is for your future and what you manifest, and see if we might be a good fit to work together. So if anything I've said on this call inspires you or ignites some interest with you, there will be a link that Jenelle will provide, and you can get on a call with me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Katie, for sharing that. It goes to show that art can do so many things. It's so much more than just a pretty picture on the wall. There's emotion, there's heartache, there's happy, like there's just so many things that art can do for us, for you. So I'm really glad that you were able to show this and allow people to have an open mind, like, whoa. Like just so that your perception can change a little bit. So even just going into it, even if you're a first time, you know, collector, just think about, your emotions, what makes you happy, what makes you, just things that something that might be nostalgic, reminds of your childhood. Just think of those kind of things, and it'll make the art buying process so much easier for you because there's like a connection, there's emotion to it. So that's my last little tidbit. I want to ask you if you had any last comments you want to add to the interview, anything that you'd like to end on.
Sure. Well, I'm also going to send Jenelle my Instagram link.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, just feel free to DM me on Instagram.
Yes, thank you so much, Katie, for your time and your commitment and your sharing your knowledge. You've helped so many people become more confident. And I encourage you all to go ahead and watch the other interviews because we will be sharing other parts of the art buying process so that way you are well-rounded and you can be a confident art collector. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
No, bye.